Hello folks, Reloading Bench back with you for some more wonderful saw content. I can't get this nut open simply because I have no way of getting in here to stop this, and I'm not going to crunch this in a vise. I tried around here, and I'm not going to crunch the threads. So I looked online, and I'm hoping that one of these packages that arrived contains what I need to get in there. So let's see, looks like it's safe to open up top. The double wrapping, which is always nice. Okay, that's a little beat up, which is exactly what it looked like in the picture, so no harm, no foul. I certainly hope, because this looks exactly like what's in the original 1950 catalog, that this wrench fits this particular throat right there. And does it? Yes, it does. Yay. So now, hopefully, and this will get restored. This will go, and it's the LTA 430. So I will probably bead blast this, which will coincide very nicely with the garage reorganization, because I had my bead blaster in the back of the garage and would essentially have to take apart the entire garage, well, not take apart, take everything out of the garage and put it on the driveway in order to get to, and I'm not, oh, I know what this is. This is not, I also ordered the original Arbor wrench, or let me rephrase that, a new version from Delta of the Arbor wrench. Not that I need it, because, you know, that's not an issue. But this one was the showstopper. This is based on what I feel as in touch, not feel as in imagination. So this is from, and these people were a pleasure, the gentleman I dealt with, pleasure to do business with. These are belts, and they're from Fremont Industrial Supply. Fremont Industrial Supply. These folks were great. And they were great for a couple reasons. Because when I called them, and I found them not by mistake, but you know, I was searching online for belts. So if you look online for belts for Unisaw, you'll find some unlabeled stuff, you know, meaning from China. And I'm not saying these are not from China or anywhere else overseas. Oil and heat resistant, anti-static and oil heat resistant. You know, I don't see anything where it says made in. Let me see if I can. So I don't see anything where I can find made in. But what was really cool about Fremont Industrial Supply, yes, I'm plugging them, because when I looked online for the price of belts, they were anywhere from, you know, scary inexpensive, meaning the unlabeled stuff, to, oh yeah, it is made in China, to stuff that was ridiculously expensive, like 3 belts for 75 bucks. So you can look online and you can find some really expensive versions of these V-belts. And I also learned what a matched set means, because you can go and you can purchase 3 of these belts and you will get potentially 3 belts. A matched set means it was cut from the same, or they were manufactured from the same run or same cut of rubber, and that's why they call them a matched set. And that's all that means is, you know, same rubber, same rubber. So that is cool. And those were needed because you'll see at some point when I publish the videos, if I haven't already, that the belts that I took off of here were in pretty bad shape. So let's get rid of these so that I don't bleed. Tired of bleeding. Don't want to be bleeding more than I have to. All right. Okay. Belts. Very cool. All right, YouTube. I thought I'd make this a separate video because I'm going to glove up and I'm going to put this new to me, old original. Looks like 1/8 thick. I've got my big boy, and I'm going to try, and I've tried by putting an Allen wrench in here and locking it down, and I don't think that was very successful. So we're going to try, and we're going to lock that down like that so that I don't get stuck with my hands. We're going to try and see if we can get this boy, that was tough. Yeah, that was an MFer. There was no way I was doing that without that wrench. No way. All right, so this one is different because everything I've seen, and when I say different, because everything I've seen shows this particular keyed, and by keyed, that's that cutout, shows this particular, where's my gloves? This particular, I don't know, for lack of a better term, I call it a washer. There, you can see the key a little bit better. All the newer being newer than this. So this is 1950, and it looks like it wants to come out. All the newer versions of this are the reverse, meaning oh yeah, meaning they went in like this. And I don't know if this is the correct way and somebody just rebuilt this and did it incorrectly, or if this is actually the correct way, because that's been in there, you can tell, for a very long time, especially as difficult as that was to get out. So that's some gunky right there. I don't know how good or bad that bearing is, but since I'm taking everything out, let me rephrase that. Since I've taken all of these parts, let me get a towel. Since I'm taking this apart, the saw apart to this degree, it just makes sense to do the bearings. Wow, that looks... Wow, bearings that were made in the USA. What does it say? New departure bearings. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get, you know, I've had people say, oh, you just put a screwdriver in and you just tap that. Let's see how. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm assuming righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Yeah, that's in there. That might be. And I don't have a tool. I don't have a tool to get that out. Maybe instead of using a screwdriver, use a flat punch or something else, because it's very obvious. And let's get in there a little sharper. Again, I talked about how valuable wood is, and this is a great instance that, you know, time to put some penetrating oil up in there. Time to put some penetrating oil up in there. All right, so more later. No fun to watch the tedious stuff, because my goal is to take this out, all of this out, and clean it. That is the goal. And I've also seen instances where, now that it's like this, to be able to punch this out, not a hammer on here, you know, wood block, wood dowel to punch this out. Also worried about the cast, because I've watched videos where people are like, hey, be careful when you're hitting it out, because you don't want to you know, break the cast right here. Weak spot. So if you, depending on how you're going to do this, make sure it's well supported. So we'll see how that goes. More later. Hello, YouTube. We have made progress, but we are at a sticking point. So you saw in a previous video where I was able to use the wrench, the old original Delta wrench. I'll put gloves on because this stuff is so dirty. Needs such a good cleaning. So this was in here. Obviously remove the set screw. Had to use a wrench to lock this so that I could get, you know, the screw that I don't have with me, in another separate bag, that's on top of here, the screw and the little bubble washer kind of thing. And then I was faced with this. And everyone else online that I check with on the YouTubes says, oh, you just, and it's clockwise lock, counterclockwise loosen, lefty loosen, righty tighty. So people are like, oh, you just put a screwdriver in here and you tap. Yeah, that didn't work. Oh, or you just get a punch or a drift and you put it in there and you tap. And it's funny because the people, you know, that I've seen the videos of, they're just like, they put a little screwdriver in and they're like, and then it just frees up. And maybe it does for them. Not so for me. So I then went ahead, before I removed this. This was the last thing I did. I supported this so I wouldn't crack this, and I used a Delrin punch to punch this out. Because once I had the screw off and the lock and the washer and the screw, or the bolt, excuse me, the nut, jeez, this was relatively easy to punch out. So let me put it in the bag again before I lose any parts. Very frustrating. And, you know, I don't know if I'm supposed to hear that sound. These are, I believe, ball bearings. And what makes this particular ball bearing a little bit different is this number C88503 is an extended raised, and I think it's because of this little thing right here. This is actually part of the bearing, whereas many other bearings you won't see that. So it's a different size. It's got some characteristics to it that are a little bit different than saws that aren't as old as this. Just like with the taper pin versus the roll pin issue. All right, so that being aside, since this didn't work and the drift didn't work, I went online and asking people, and you know, I love it when people are like, oh, it always has worked for me. Well, yeah, well, it doesn't for me. So that's great it worked for you. I then took a piece of steel and fabricated this. This is, the bend in here is probably the 5th time, and this is the least bent because I've just frankly given up. You can see how many attempts with the vice grips. So my thought was, oh, just put this in here, you know, shape it, put it in here, and then with the vice grips, just give it a twist. Yeah, not happening. Not happening. The only thing it does is bend really poorly. So, not getting enough leverage is one of my thoughts. Some of the comments are heat it, and I'm like, all right. The other is spanner wrench, and these are really small openings. So I have ordered a spanner pin, adjustable spanner pin wrench, or adjustable pin spanner wrench, whatever the right name is. And by the way, this has been soaking in a combination of PB Blast, Kroll, and WD-40 to try and, you know, do something. And to date, nothing's working. Nothing worky. So some of the comments were, oh, now that you have all of the guts out, just pound it out this way. No, because the bearing rests on that lip. So there's the lip on this side. So the only way the bearing is coming out is up. And the only way for the bearing to come out is if this is not here, because this is what locks the bearing in. So there was one guy in one of the forums, can't remember which one it was, not OWW, but one of the forums I found where nobody really talks a whole lot about this. And this is called the bearing closure nut. This little wonderful piece of whatever. And obviously, so I'll show a picture of it when I first attempted this. And you can see that this side looked perfect, and this side only had one hit. So at the factory, I'm guessing that it was pounded once because it did a little peening, and now it's got peening on both sides because of my feeble attempts. But yeah, this is a bit of a showstopper for bearing replacements. And again, I don't know if that bearing should be making that noise. I've ordered some additional bearings, and I'm thinking, you know, if I can't get this bearing out, I don't know what to do. But it doesn't feel like it's, you know, it's got some, I don't know. It's just frustrating. That's the joys of restoration. You know, 74 years of never moving, and the heat and the vibration and whatever else, because I don't think these have ever been replaced based on looking at this ring. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with the adjustable pin spanner wrench, because maybe that will allow me to get the leverage that I just can't seem to get with this. So it'll probably be a combination of locking it in the vise. And again, I flooded the backside with, we're talking days of penetrating oil and oils and such to try and loosen things up. But maybe heat is my next best alternative, because everything I'm doing is not working. Not working. I mean, worst case scenario, I'll end up finding a replacement LTA 408 Arbor, and I've got the bearing on order, bearings, and again, I had to get the extended raceway version of the bearing. I got these, I'm ordered from Delta, and then I might just have to pick up another one of these rings. And these rings were ridiculously expensive. The aftermarket version's like $25 plus shipping. Online, I think it's a $4, $5 part with $10 to $15 shipping. So kind of ridiculous. But again, the trials and tribulations of trying to restore something. So more to come, I'm sure. Later. All right, YouTubers, we have success. And the only thing this aided me in, my special tool, was towards the end after I had gotten this loose. So originally, I don't know if the mark is still there, this, I don't know which one because now they're both kind of fucked up. I want to say this one. This one was like that, and I put the witness mark in. Because if you notice, this is crisp. This edge is crisp. This one probably took a hit. I don't know if that was me or not. But this was not me. So whoever hit that at the factory drove that home to put to peen that like that. So I ordered my spanner wrench. It has not arrived yet. My adjustable pin spanner wrench. I was going to try two methods. I was going to try heat. And then I decided, instead of me trying to do this, just laying here, I'm going to lock this into the vise, this jaw into the vise. So I was able to maneuver it. And once I did that, I was tapping on it. And I did do the screwdriver. And then I moved from this to a 3-pound, to my 3-pounder. And then I was just consistent with the screwdriver because I started with my drift punch, and I noticed that the only thing the drift punch was doing was damaging it more. So I went back to the sharper edge of the screwdriver, and lo and behold, the screwdriver trick actually worked. I saw it start. I thought I was imagining things because I'm glad I did the witness mark. Because when I started pounding it this way, I saw the witness mark closer to this edge, and I printed this to make sure I wasn't seeing things. And sure enough, it did break loose. And then towards the end, I was able to use this because it was still rough to get it out. But this is corroded. This has seen better days. I will clean these edges up, as well as this, and the bearing came out. I could almost push it out. It was ridiculously easy. I mean, it's beautifully clean in there for the most part, minus this. So yeah, that was a biatch. Later. Before putting things away, I wanted to note these bearings. I believe are going to be the original 74-year-old bearings based on how this looked before I started hacking on it. It looked pretty pristine, 3 of the 4 corners in the slots. But I was actually debating, well, if I can't get this out, I'm just going to leave it, this one particular bearing. And when I spin it, let's see, where's a pen? Let me put a mark on it. So when I spin it, you'll see, oh, it just stopped. So it's got some resistance, and then it stopped again. So you obviously can't feel that, but I can when it starts to, there's a little, you can feel a little ripple, and then it would stop. I'm glad I at least caught it once. So it was catching a bunch of times, Oh, there it goes. Nice stop. Perfect, perfect timing. So we'll end it on that. So there's definitely some friction right in here with the ball bearings. So it was due for a change. There we go. Stop again. So 74 years. It's an old bearing. It was good to get it out, make the change, and replace it with a new one. Maybe it'll last another 74 years.